What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, long time no see, man.
You know that building that holds all the gold bars in America, Fort Knox?
Oh yes, the infamous Fort Knox, Kentucky.
I've always wanted to
Yep.
know what's in it, so
Me too.
All right, let's find out.
Take a look inside.
Yeah. All right, so what do we got here? We got why Fort Knox is totally forbidden. Let's find out.
I would like to know that. Yeah.
Have you ever wondered where the United States keeps most of its gold? Well, perhaps
Yes.
surprisingly, the answer is Kentucky. You see, under the management of the Department of Treasury, the United States Bullion Depository stores gold as well as other valuables belonging to the federal government. In this bizarre building that looks like a hybrid of a jail and a fort. And although what you can see above ground makes a strong impression, it's what's out of sight that really counts. So join me as we...
Here we go.
This is one thing, real quick, that I now realize that I did not as a kid. There's a lot of stuff that the U.S. government has that's like very advanced, like military bases. Most of it's underground. We don't even really see how large they are. All we see is like this little thing. There's so
like
much
the tip
stuff
of the
under there.
iceberg, right?
Yeah, like I saw
You don't see the rest.
I saw the White House the other day, and I'm like, that's not that big. That's because a lot of it's underground. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
Just
A
something
lot
I.
of what you see is,
Yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
you're
Yeah,
right.
say a lot of what you see with the White House, like for example, there's the above ground part, the presidential, the private residence,
Yeah.
first
The-
floor, second
the
floor,
front door.
house itself, the front door. Then you have those colonnades east and west. West Wing obviously being the famous where the office is and all that, and then the East Wing with the dining rooms and stuff. Yeah, but then there's supposedly underground bunkers and stuff in the event of emergency.
There's a lot. So most of those military
Yeah.
bases that are around here in America, like Area 51 and the hundreds of others, which the real business is taking place underground, just like
word.
Fort
Yep.
Knox.
Yeah, it's true.
We discover the United States Bullion Depository at Fort Knox. I'm your host, Ryan Socash, and you're watching It's History.
Oh wow! Look at
Nice.
that. We got a whole intro. We're gonna skip that.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
670 tons of structural steel and 750 tons of reinforced steel. Not to mention the electric fence surrounding the wall. Internally, steel plates, cylinders, and I-beams encased in concrete make up the vault's structure. In other words, this is no man.
So that's what I imagined as a kid.
we go.
And I don't even know
Yeah.
why I know about this, because I remember as a kid it was like, if you break into Fort Knox, you'll be wealthy. And like we would talk about
Yeah, right.
the ways we would break in, like dig under the ground and try to go under it. This is like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid thinking about this.
Oh yeah. The
So
imagination.
my inner child, really has a very fixed like thought about this place, and it looks a lot
cool.
like this image right now with the door.
It's
you know?
kind of, you're right, because as a child, I remember imagining it in my head, and literally a giant, like you see in cartoons, a giant bank vault, the big, I mean, maybe not exactly, but the big wheel right there.
Yeah, the big wheel. Yeah.
And you open it up, and inside, I imagine rows and rows or stacks of gold bars.
Yep.
That was like my whole, and I'm like, yeah, America's got all this gold. And I understand too. We store it for other countries have their reserves.
Yeah.
I think in
Yes.
Fort Knox as well, since it's relatively safe.
I think also people, because eventually they will go in there. In one of these videos we see will have it that you can actually, if you have a gold bar, they'll store it for you. I know banks do also, but like it's like,
nice.
like say you're a billionaire or something. I'm sure you can get your
Yeah.
gold in there. You know,
I know what that's like. Yeah, being a billionaire, right? Yeah, you get your gold bar stored. And
$1 billion.
Here's the vault with the wheel.
$1 billion is a lot of money. It's a lot.
It
of
really
money.
is, in all
It's
seriousness, yeah.
absurd. You think $1 million is a lot? This is way more.
Agencies on the federal level. Currently boasting approximately 147.3 million ounces of gold.
Wow.
up.
Wow. He said
no
million.
joke.
He said million at the end.
Yeah.
Wow.
Million with an M. Still though.
Let me see if I can pull this off. I try to do this on camera. Okay.
Yeah.
How much is a bar of gold worth a pound of?
Let's see.
Okay, a pound of gold can be worth between 24,000, I'm just rounding, 24,000 and 40,000, depending on the type of pound and the price of the gold at the time. That's for 1 pound. And that thing has millions of pounds. So, wow.
Millions of pounds sitting in there in a big vault, just waiting for to be used.
It's crazy. All right, let's why can't you visit Fort Knox? Okay, why can't you do it?
The site. Visitors are not allowed in Fort Knox without permission, and permission is seldom granted. In fact, to the best of our research,
I want to go there.
Me too.
Yeah, I want to go there.
Me too. Yeah, it's almost like a childhood dream to like see the big gold bricks.
Well,
sitting there.
This is in Philadelphia. This is the U.S. Mint.
That's right. That's right. Yep, there we are. I'm very familiar with that building.
The United States Mint only lists 2 public visits in its history. The first on September the 23rd, 19...
Wait, only 2 public visits ever, I guess, by the public. That's when you.
I guess so.
That's how you know the government is just doing something, right? When they're just like, it's been here for how many years, and they're just like, only 2 people, civilians, have ever been in this building. You're like, what are you doing in there? What's so secret?
Yeah, like, is it just a bunch of gold bricks sitting around, or something else going on in there?
Like,
Still opens the door to a lot of questions.
And this is the one thing, I watch a lot of like First Amendment audit videos, and like people going to DMVs, and then they just record, and immediately it's like a hive where like they shut the place down, the police come, you get trespassed, all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
What in the world is it like when you want to go into Fort Knox? Do you know what they have? This is something every civilian should know about with the government. Lethal force. If they have lethal force, they don't need to explain anything to you. Rightfully, you shouldn't kill your own citizens, but I'm sure there's a way around that, right? But lethal force means there's no questions. They'll shoot you on sight.
I know somebody who, let's just say it was out west. He found himself in the wrong place. He just had to go off to the road to use the bathroom. So he goes off an exit, kind of an unmarked exit at the time. He goes off. He found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. These guys were not messing around. Get out of the car. They were armed. U.S. military, I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
But it was clearly an area he knew right away. Oh, he's trying to explain to him, I swear I made a wrong turn. I just need to use the bathroom.
Wow.
Please, it's an accident. It's a misunderstanding. He did manage to get out of it because he knows somebody. But, yeah, it was a close call.
Still, though, thinking, wow, like those guys, you could crack jokes or try to, be light about it. And they don't care about any of it. It's what is your name? What are you doing here? Get off. And you're lucky we didn't.
This is one of those times where, where having a sense of humor is against the law.
Yeah, you don't. A lot of people feel like when they deal with true leadership or true adults in the room who have more power than you, they don't care about your jokes at all. They don't care about you as a person. They don't care about you. You are just a thing that they are managing right now. And if it's severe enough, you're something that'll just get dealt with immediately.
That's right.
Right.
You as a conscious entity are largely irrelevant other than, let's say, quote, problem to solve.
Yes. Yeah, and there's a lot of them, and they are armed to the teeth. And they have a brotherhood, too. A lot of them have brotherhoods. All them people, all that law enforcement, and it gets even more so in the FBI and all of them government high-level things. You are just a nobody to them. Because they have unimaginable power, They really do.
True. I don't think we realize.
Unless
we think about it, right? Just how much.
What it is for me is we are constantly trespassing all the time. Like, I feel like I'm always trespassing. I feel like I have no real safe place unless it's my home. And that's a hard enough thing to keep, right? But if you start going out into the world, you're like, oh, can I stand there? Can I be in this building? Can I? And the answer is no, you can, maybe for a couple hours. Like a Target, for instance. You're not allowed to Target at 2 o'clock in the morning. If you try to stay there, you're going to get arrested. So, like, most places, you can't stay at all, everywhere you go. What can you go to, a gym for 24 hours? Well, you better have a membership. Like, where else can you go?
Oh, yeah, right?
True. You see my point I'm trying to make is just how little we control and how much is out of our hands,
It's true. It's so true.
And it's kind of scary, and it fascinates me, but it also scares me too, because it's just like there's so many things on this planet where you like go try to go to the Vatican and go in the basement. It's its own.
You can't.
It's its own country. It's its own country with its own money.
It's true.
It's like
It really is. It has its own. It has its own currency. It mints. It has its own postage stamps. It's literally a small country.
That's insane.
What's fascinating is, you're in Rome one second, and it's to the point where even the location service on your phone, it knows. So you'll cross this line, the border between essentially Italy and the Vatican, and once you cross that line, you're in Vatican City. You're in the Vatican City state. There's no, and your phone knows right away.
wow.
Like it changes. It's such a strange
Wow.
phenomenon. Because you think, okay, it's such a small land area as countries go, right?
Yeah.
No, it knows you're there, and when you're underground, I got the privilege of, you go under the necropolis there,
Yep.
the ancient Roman necropolis, and you see under the Vatican basically.
Yeah.
I've never been in the archives of the library, but I've seen that. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you're
And again, what is it that you're?
forbidden places.
What are you not seeing? What? Because again, everything is underneath, so things connect to things, and doors open and close, and
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff down there, and a lot of antiquity. They got it
yeah.
all. Oh, they
Yeah.
got it. But
Do they have it?
I just wish that like we could see a lot. They don't let us see. The world doesn't let us see anything.
They don't.
You
There's
don't.
so many forbidden places. In the
Everything's
world, too,
forbidden.
like
Everything.
Fort Knox, the Vatican libraries, the Diego Garcia Island, the Area 51.
Antarctica.
And
Good luck going to Antarctica.
Antarctica is a good one. Right. There's so many areas where we don't get to see, at least not easily.
Yeah.
There's that Sentinel, I think it's Sentinel Island off the coast of India, where there's that Stone Age tribe, and the Indian government won't allow anyone even close to it.
Wow.
The tribe will attack people too, but they won't allow anyone near it because they don't want to, poison this tribe with outside influence, let's say. But it's just so interesting because there's that's forbidden.
Everything is
Parts of the
forbidden.
Himalayas are
You can
probably
get
forbidden.
trespassed so quick, and in different countries, if you're not a citizen, then
Oh, boy.
this
Yeah.
this world is so massive and has so many secrets. It really does.
It's true.
It really does.
Secrets
What we
everywhere.
see isn't what is real. So let's go into some shorts here.
Let's check it out. Yeah. We got.
All right.
Here we go.
Hey Bailey, what's the value inside your toolbox?
All right. Well, that's the other video, so we're gonna go back to this one.
Knox is a
There we go.
fortified vault building that stores over half of the country's gold reserves. It currently holds roughly 140.
Now this is a photo op, right? So this picture, that's
Yeah.
that's what we
Yeah.
imagine, right? Like that's what we think
That's
Fort Knox
exactly
is.
as I imagine it too.
Yeah.
That's the picture of a lifetime right there.
So one of those bars is worth an absurd amount of money. Like just one.
47 million troy ounces of gold bullion, which is about 4,580 metric tons.
They're very heavy too. You couldn't just
Oh, I
steal
bet.
them all. Yeah, they're
You
so
can't
heavy.
just go in there with your bag and
No,
with your
no. You could get one or two maybe.
That's more than twice.
And it would be noticeable how hard you'd be dragging the bag because they're very, very heavy.
Oh,
the
yeah.
weight of the
all
Eiffel
that up.
Tower. At the current gold price, that's
Wow.
about $289 billion USD. Fort Knox is a fortified vault building that stores over half
I'm gonna watch it again.
of the country's gold reserves.
Worth it.
It currently holds roughly 147 million troy ounces of gold bullion, which is about 4,580 metric tons.
Wow.
That's more than twice the weight of the Eiffel Tower.
Twice
At the
the
current
weight
gold
of the
price,
Eiffel
that's
Tower.
about $289 billion US.
So it is
The Eiffel
interesting.
Tower's huge.
It is interesting to note that why do we, as humanoids, as these monkeys we are, why do
yes, yes.
why do we like stones so much? And it kind of goes back into that Anunnaki thing where they said humans were designed to be workers, to dig and harvest the gems so that they could use
Right.
them. It is kind of weird that that's like what we base money off of. Scientifically, gold is super important. It does so many things.
It's very useful too. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a good conductor, I believe.
Absolutely.
Among other things. So, and then you have the sort of intrinsic value attached to it, when the value, the monetary value attached
Yeah.
to it as well. There's sort of like, it's a commodity. There's a limit to how much exists.
Sure.
At least at a given moment in the world. it sounds like over half of at least America's reserves is in Fort Knox, so we're over half.
Well, it's a pretty
the other half is.
a very egotistical thing, right? To walk around so. I think it's used to show your wealth or to fake your wealth.
Right.
So if you come into a room with the real gold, and it would be you're coming in that room and you're like, I have $100,000 on my neck, and that's why people steal change from other people, because you're literally walking around with your bank account. I'm sure it's like most of their money, and it's just like equity. It's like tangible, equity, and it's so easy to steal. It's so easy to take. And you're out there, you better have like bodyguards or something if you're wearing like a lot of jewelry, because it's the easiest thing to rob somebody for, because it retains its value, right? A watch. It's so simple. And you're running that risk every time you're out there. And you're like, look at me. I have more than your house on my neck, on my finger. It's very narcissistic.
Kind of thing, and
big,
too for some people,
big time. Big time.
Especially something like a gold chain or like a Rolex watch. There was a guy, it's a young people there. You're walking outside a bar, I believe, in the city center in Philadelphia. They got robbed of their Rolexes right outside.
So easy.
Right outside the establishment. It's so easy to do.
It's so easy.
Yeah, Rolex is the kind of watch that'll rise in value over time, generally speaking. And they just made off with a bunch of good Rolexes.
Yeah, and people who know, like you know what Rolexes look like. It's not that hard to. You can see the gems on them.
Big time fan of the Rolex. I don't have one myself. Full disclosure.
I know a lot of a lot of people who travel internationally and say they want to hide money, like money laundering in a way. Say you got dual citizenship or whatever, and you go to Laos or you can go to Vietnam or whatever. You bring watches with you because the watches hold so much value.
You kind of have these stores of wealth without transferring capital across, like money across borders. You can, put it all in your watch.
Yep, put it in your watch.
Like that Kevin O'Leary character, the Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful.
Yes, I know him.
He's a watch collector.
Yeah.
So he and I kind of have a similar interest. So
hey,
Kevin, if you're down to hand me down Rolex to your good buddy the comrade here.
Oh, that'd be great. It's such a gesture. It's not hard to do. You're like, here, take this item, and then the way the world works, it's worth it could be worth $50,000, $20,000, $30,000. Not a car doesn't hold value like that at all.
No, cars won't. Certain other assets they're almost more like ever depreciating.
Constantly.
Abilities in a way.
It's weird.
They're one of a great example.
They're one of the weird, one of the strange things, and it's not just gold. It's diamonds, rubies, sapphires. They onyx, platinum. Oh, platinum is incredible. Yeah. Just the material, because of how scarce it is, it brings such value. And I have come to learn also scientifically it has tremendous value as well. There's a lot you can do with these things, a lot of conducting, a lot of, I think that's what the Egyptians were kind of doing in all of them older civilizations. They were using this like frequency and doing things,
Speaking, you mentioned the Egyptians, it just reminds me, when they first built those pyramids, before the grave robbers, and they were
it was beautiful
experience. Let's say they were capped in magnificent gold,
limestone,
and the limestone was white. It was just so like bright.
Yep.
It could just imagine. It must be something to have seen.
Yes. Knox is a United States Army post located in Kentucky. It is best known for housing the United States Bullion Depository, which holds a large portion of the United States official gold reserves. The post was established in 1918 and is named after Henry Knox.
Henry Knox. Okay. It's interesting how many things are named after people, especially in America. I guess everywhere.
I know, right?
Who knew?
I forget.
I didn't know.
I actually just thought it was somehow named after the town or something.
Maybe the town might also be.
United States Secretary of War. The depository is built into the side of a hill and is protected by a variety of security measures, including armed guards, motion sensors, and cameras. Here is a fun fact about Fort Knox. 1. The main vault door at Fort Knox weighs 20 tons and is 21 inches thick. It is made of 2 layers of steel and is said to be resistant to torches, drills, and explosives. 2. The Fort Knox Bullion Depository is so secure that it is said that the only way to get into the vault is to know the combination to the door.
I think some of this is just made up. This is one of those AI generated things. So, you take your fake news with a little bit of, It's
a little bit of a pinch of salt.
yeah. Just
right,
just
one.
be don't just make your decisions right away. Don't believe everything you hear.
And have the key to the padlock. 3. The gold bars stored at Fort Knox are worth more than $200 billion.
I would think more than that. I think it'd probably be like $1 trillion. If Apple's worth $1 trillion as a company, didn't they do that? I think somebody.
Yeah, I think they did break the $1 trillion mark not long ago, I believe. Yeah.
So yeah, I would think that Fort Knox would have more money than Apple does.
Yeah, is it bad as he's mentioning all the gold bullion and the $200 billion value? My mouth is like watering, like I'm like salivating at the thought.
All I do is worry about money, right? Like everyone thinks they're like rich. We're not. Nobody's rich. I don't know one person who has. Okay, give me a realistic number. I don't think I know many people who have 1.2 million in cash in the bank, own their house, have 401ks like all over the place, have Rolex watches, just wealth.
Right.
It's just everywhere. They have the
wealth everywhere.
Yeah, you probably know people who have like hundreds of thousands or a 401k that's doing pretty good, or a house that they managed to own. But I mean, that's a far different thing. I mean, like I dropped $50,000 on a new Tesla just because I wanted it, and look at my house, and I got another house. I got another house. It's like
it's true. I do know someone who seems, at least conventionally or on paper, like very successful as far as, and is maybe not to the extreme, definitely not to the extreme of like an Elon Musk or a Mark Zuckerberg or so on.
Yeah, but, wealthy.
Certainly well-to-do, I would say.
Sure.
Buys houses, flips houses. Is into real estate, has investments, has 401ks.
Yep.
I don't know about the Rolex watch, but the house looks really nice from what I've seen of it. Good person too, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Really cool guy.
That's I think real estate.
And then I know people on the other side too.
Not to cut you off, but like real estate is the one way that normal everyday people can become wealthy. That seems to be the one thing that can do it.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need a, for lack of better words, that fancy education, right?
Yep.
That Harvard piece of paper, let's say, or Yale. You can learn it, and if you're willing to get through the real estate licensing exams and so forth, yeah, I think you could do quite well.
I think if you do get successfully on a couple houses, then you have more money to buy, you have more money to flip, you have more money you build off them houses,
Yeah. That's what my buddy's doing too. He's all into like building his first house. Is a big blow to his credit rating, let's say.
Yeah.
But he took the risk. He flipped it. He did well. He's sort of parlayed that into another home.
Yeah.
Flipped that, done well, and so on and so on. He's very into real estate, so he kind of knows how to do it. I'm impressed. I'm interested in what he knows too. Yeah.
But if you gave that guy like 10 gold bars, he wouldn't even bother with that anymore. He could just go hang out and have dinner in any country he wants.
That's right.
Sleep anywhere, any bed he wants.
Or store it in Fort Knox.
Armed guards and you name it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that was interesting. That video was a little longer than I thought, but I really enjoyed
for sure
learning about it and talking about it. So, all right. Until the next one.